Hi, welcome to the Online Jewelry Academy. I'm Professor John Ahr and I'm your instructor. In this video, I'm going to show you how to do a project that's great for kids' parties and inebriated adults. So let me give you a little disclaimer before I begin. The items that I have on the bench in front of me, they don't photograph so well. They are gorgeous in person, but they just kind of fall flat on the camera, kind of like me. But I assure you that if you make these, you're going to love them, and especially your kids are going to love them. Now, what these are made out of is refrigeration or aquarium tubing in all different sizes. Now, let me show you some of the tools that you're going to need in order to make this project. First, you're going to need a variety of different cutters and pliers because you're going to do a little bit of wire wrap with this project. Next, you're going to need a ruler or a yardstick, something that's going to help you to make accurate measurements. And a tape measure might not be a bad idea as well. You also want to have a hot glue gun ready, and you want to have a variety of different types of clasps, end caps that fit the tubing that you're going to be working with, some head pins. These are what we use in beaded earrings for holding the earring on, or the bead to the end of the earring. You're also going to need an awl or a center punch with a sharp point. You also need a cutting device. I like both of these actually. I have an Exacto blade and I have a pair of scissors. You're going to find that each of them serves a purpose, so you may want to have both of these. You'll need a funnel that can fit into your tubing. Now, you may have to have a variety of funnels. And you also want to have material to put into the bracelets. Now, in this bracelet right here, I have a length of ball chain with the ball chain clasp. And this one here is actually filled with a variety of beads. It has turquoise, tourmaline, and pearls. So you could, if you've got some loose ends of beads that are just lying around on your bench and you don't know what to do with them, you could probably put them into one of these bracelets. Now, these two over here are kind of interesting because this one on the end utilizes pink sugar for its color, and the one right next to it has cake sprinkles in it. So you can get a lot of variety of color with these. Now, the one over here may not look like very much, but the kids will love it. It's filled with glow-in-the-dark glitter. Now, it looks kind of plain, so you could mix this in with other types of glitter to give it more of a daytime look, but at night this is going to glow just great. Now, laying in front of me, I have a really complex looking necklace right here. It's a 3-tiered necklace that's filled with cake sprinkles, and I'm using the little rubber caps to seal the end. And I've got a variety of just loose chains that are holding the ends together so that it lays very, very nicely around the neck. Okay, so let me show you how to make these. They're really simple. Now, let's talk a little bit about the end caps. Like I said, for the tubing that I have here, this black end cap is the one that fits on, and they fit pretty snugly. They're kind of hard to pull off. But if you want to make sure that they stay on, you may want to give a little squirt of hot glue into the end cap before you put it onto the end of the tubing. It's just a hot wax that won't damage the tubing, and it will hold the pieces together quite well. Now, if you want these to meet up and have a clasping mechanism to them, you're going to have to push through the end cap using the sharp awl or center punch in order to create a point at the end. And you could just go right through it and just give it a push, and there you go. Now, I wasn't being very careful. I'm off to the side, but you're going to be doing it perfectly. All right, and when you get that hole pushed through it, then you could take a head pin. Like I said, these are used in beadwork for making earrings and things, and you could just kind of push that end cap, or I'm sorry, the head pin through the end cap. And then this way we can make a connection to the clasp. Okay, so you understand that. Now, if you wanted to, you can actually work much, much larger. for example, I have a piece of tubing right here that this is 1/4-inch tubing. It's kind of big, but it's going to make a great statement necklace. Now I've already secured one end, and let me just show you how I did that. What I did was I used my center punch to drill a hole through the end cap, and then what I can do is, now that I have a hole through that end cap, I can just take one of my head pins and run it through that end cap, and then I'll just pick up my round nose pliers, and just like if I'm making a linkage between elements of an earring or a bracelet, I'm just going to make a loop, and then I'll just wire wrap that down to secure it, and then just remove the excess wire with a pair of cutters. Now you can push in the little end of the wire with another pair of pliers so that it doesn't poke anybody. Okay, now once you have that secure, then you can go ahead and add the other part of your clasp. So in this case, I'm using a toggle clasp, but you could use almost any type of clasping mechanism that you want to. You could use a spring-loaded one, or you might even use a magnetic clasp. And those are kind of nice, especially when you're working with kids, because their little fingers aren't going to be able to manipulate a clasp so easily. So the magnetic ones are really good. But funny story, I know a woman who, she works in an office, and she told me, she said that every time that she goes to work with a magnetic clasp on her bracelet, she always ends up losing that bracelet because it gets stuck on the filing cabinets. All right, so I've got that end cap ready to go. It's got the head pin through it that's twisted into a loop and secured the other end of my toggle clasp. So now it's time to fill this up. And what I have to fill it up with are cubic zirconia, or CZs. Now I know this looks like a ton of CZs, and it kind of is, but guess what? I'm in Los Angeles, and there are a lot of suppliers of synthetic stones and other stone material. And if there's somebody operating that type of supply company in your area, you might be able to do what I did. I bought the damaged ones. All of these have cracks or chips in them, so they're really not good for setting into jewelry. So all of these, about 20 bucks. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm going to take a larger funnel and I'm going to insert it into the end of my tubing. Then that way, all I have to do is just pour in the CZs. Ta-da! Now it looks like it's full of diamonds. Ooh, kind of overfilled it. That's okay. At least I captured them all in my tray. Okay, so once you get it full, take your end cap, take your hot glue gun, and you want to just give this a squirt of hot glue on the inside. And then just simply push the tubing into the end cap to secure it. Now you may want to hold on to this for a few minutes to let that kind of congeal and dry, but now you've got a really beautiful statement necklace that's filled with CZs. It just looks like it's filled with diamonds. Now let me show you something just to be clear. Now let's look at these bracelets again. Now these two on the end are bangles, and I just want to show you. Here what I did was I took end caps and I cut the end off. And you can just take a pair of scissors, just cut that end off, and I stuck a little bit of hot glue in, put one end in, filled it up with the pink sugar, and then put a little more hot glue and just shove the other end in, and it makes a perfect little bangle bracelet. Same thing with this one, filled with the sprinkles. It just has a different color of end cap because it's a different size of tubing. Now on these here, you can see how I was able to use a toggle clasp with the end caps, using the head pins with the clasping device. And on this one here, because I'm using just a regular ball chain, the ball chain comes with its own clasp. So I just used that and just covered it with the plastic. Now this one here that's filled with the glow-in-the-dark glitter, this has the magnetic clasp. And like I said, these are great if you're working with kids because they're not going to be able to manipulate these little clasps by themselves. This will make them feel much more accomplished if they can just put it on and off all by themselves. That's all there is to it. I hope you like this project. You can find many more projects like it on the onlinejewelryacademy.com. And if you click on the button in the lower right-hand corner of your screen, you instantly become a subscriber to the Online Jewelry Academy. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And if you've been following us, maybe you've already seen some of these pieces on social media. Thanks for watching.